Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and to the largest video for me to record, my complete collection tour, including all my current work in progress pages and all my completed pages. It's a very large video for me to record, and as such it is split into 6 parts, focusing each part on one shelf of my collection. Each video is still a very long video, so I suggest that you grab a cup of tea or a coffee or some water, grab a snack and get comfy because this is going to be a big video. So a little bit about me before we begin. My name is Amy, aka Amy Ward Art, the colorist behind this channel and also a live stream colorist on Twitch and YouTube as well. And I really love colouring. I started really getting into colouring when an autoimmune arthritic flare-up caused me to lose sensation in my hand and not be able to grip a pencil. And I use colouring as a means to help with the damage that this flare-up has caused to my hand, and in the process felt absolutely in love. I love being able to share different processes, different techniques, and create really beautiful, bright, happy, glittery pages about creating that wonderful, happy little bubble to escape to, especially when things get too tough. I'm based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I have a lot of colouring books. Yeah, so we've got quite a bit of a collection to go through. Shelf 5, the shelf where books go to die. Yeah, so shelf 5 is kind of my, I don't know where to put this shelf, my odd shelf, my random bookshelf, and the books that I don't colour in a lot shelf. My mandala books live down here, some Christmas books live down here, my Selina Fenech books also live down here because of their covers. I have a couple of Disney books. It's a very assorted collection. A lot of these books won't stand up vertically on my shelf, or they're just random one-off shelves. One-off books. I also have one of the worst colouring books I've ever purchased on this shelf. It's a very odd shelf. It's a very interesting shelf, but you know, you never know what you're going to find in there. It's quite a fun one to pull a book from sometimes. I'm also going to include my PDFs in today's one as well. They are kept separate in like a little folder, but I will put them with this shelf because again, it is random assortment one-off PDFs. These are not books that I've printed, these are individual pages. Okay, let's get into this randomness. These are in no particular order, they're just going to be whatever I pull out. Alright, so the first one we pulled out is Christmas Colour by Numbers. So I did actually do a couple of these at Christmas time just to see if I enjoyed the style of book. So this was done in the Faber-Castell felt tip markers, the ones that clip together. This one I quite liked, this little illustration. I just really didn't like that you could see the numbers through the pen, which I can see why people do like paint markers and stuff like that. But I thought I would try one more. Sorry, not Crayolas. I did this with alcohol markers. That's right. So I did this one with alcohol markers too. And they just bled. They went everywhere. I hate that you can see the numbers through it. Realised that it's not really my cup of tea. So I'm going to try one more. And I think I'm going to try and use like acrylic paint or something, maybe some gouache, although a lot of them look quite fiddly. But I think I want something that kind of covers up the details. So if I do it with like acrylic paint or gouache and treat it like a paint by numbers, then I think I might enjoy it. But because it is a Christmas book, I'm not likely to touch this again until December because it's Christmas and, you know, we're not likely to pull this out until December, except for maybe in July if I do a midwinter Christmas. Right, I have Alice's Nightmare in Wonderland by Jonathan Green. I found this one secondhand, so I decided to grab it because I thought it might be interesting. So I think that's the only colouring that's been done in it by the previous owner. It's got a really interesting style. The paper is super thin, but it's really neat in terms of the art. I don't know how I feel about it as a colouring book. Like, I feel like this is too... Like, this one's not so bad, but like this one with all the solid black and very little area to colour, it doesn't feel like a colouring book. It feels like illustrations to a storybook that the artists then went, hey, we could colour these, and added it in. Yeah, like this one, like, I can see some areas to colour, but this one, not so much. So yeah, but it is quite a neat style of book in terms of the art, so I do like it for the art, just not sure about colouring in it. Right, I have the Art of Colouring Disney Villains. This is a hardcover book. I spent quite a bit of money on this one, thinking it was an entirely different book. I was a little misled by the posting of this one, and I'm a little upset about it because this one has a lot of patterns. There's a certain style of these Disney books that do this. They're the adult Disney colouring books, and it's like, don't give us the patterns, Disney. Give us just the characters in a little bit more complicated setting and on nice paper. That's what we want. We want the characters on nice paper. Not this. So yeah, part of me is like, I just need to unhaul this, or I need to find a way to work with the pattern. Probably I need to suck it up and unhaul it, but also I spent so much. I think I paid like $45 for this book. It was quite a pricey colouring book for me, but I was really excited thinking it was a completely different book. So yeah, I might need to see if I can figure out a way to like cover this pattern, or, you know, figure something out to make this work. Speaking of books that were a disappointment, we have the Mushrooms colouring book. Now luckily this one was super cheap, but I should have taken that as a sign because it was so cheap. I feel like this is one of those Amazon self-produced colouring books where the person who has made it has just slapped together a bunch of stock art and then shoved it through on Amazon to be printed. It's been printed and just then ended up in a warehouse with me purchasing it. Because if you see, like, this mushroom here, is this mushroom here, is this mushroom here, and like the line's not even correctly erased. It is one of the worst colouring books I have ever seen. And it's such a thing, like, this weird mushroom. It gave us such a laugh on stream to flip through this. Like, it seriously feels like someone was just high when they made this. Like, they were actually on mushrooms and decided to make the mushroom colouring book. It's in like these where it's just like mushrooms slapped on top of other mushroom art. There's probably some copying. I don't know. I bought this on impulse because it was so cheap. And like this here. Yeah, I don't know. If you want a full proper flip through, like, why are you covering the horse's face here? Why? If you want a proper flip through of this disaster of a colouring book, see, that is very clearly Disney. That's the Tinkerbell and Friends, I think. Yeah, if you want a flip through of this disaster of a colouring book just to see this chaos, let me know, but what the heck do I do with this? Like, I could unhaul it, but who the hell would want this? I feel mean giving this to someone. This is like a really awful thing to give to somebody. Like, unless somebody's like, I find it hilarious, please give it to me. what do I do with it? It doesn't even have an author on it. It has no accreditation. It has absolutely nothing. Yeah. This is why you shouldn't impulse buy a book without a flip through with just a title because you think it could be interesting. Lessons learned. Alright. I have this one here. So this is by the Harmony of Colour series. Mandala and Mosaics. This one is one that I just grab every once in a while. If I'm not feeling well, I just grab some alcohol markers and I just colour in the patterns. This is just a pattern book. Nothing too, like, I don't go for anything fancy. I don't even add gel pens. I just colour in. So this one is technically in progress. It is an older in progress one. I probably could have tuned this out before I did my end of year wrap up if I had been bothered, but also I really have to be in the mood for these. And most of the time when I'm in the mood for these, I have the flu, I'm curled up in bed and I don't want to think. So that's kind of my time that I do it. And you can see that there's some yellowing on the page from the alcohol markers in front and I genuinely don't care. So this one here, check out the gorgeously, accurately printed cover. Really badly printed, this one. But it is a really wonderful reason to buy this book. So I brought this book more as a support the company rather than necessarily colouring it. So if you want to find out, look up Wormworks Publishing. Also, if you are a gaming store, note that you can actually print and copy this to colour in the gaming store, which I thought was really, really cool. But what this is Limitless Heroes. So it's characters with disability, mental illness, and neurodivergence in D&D. And that's why I wanted to get it. I wanted to support because I think it's really important to show representations of disabilities, and especially in D&D. I love playing characters in combat wheelchair. I love playing characters with... I played a character recently that had multiple personalities in their head and was playing with the idea of depression and mental illness in a way. It was really therapeutic for me as somebody who has also dealt with a lot of mental health issues. And yeah, playing someone in the combat wheelchair is also really, really... The combat wheelchair is pretty awesome, just saying. And yeah, so we've got service animals here, support gear. So the art, yeah, some of the art's not the greatest thing in the world in terms of the faces, anatomy or something like that. But again, this was about supporting a really cool cause and supporting different representations of characters, which I thought was really, really cool. So yeah, it's a really neat book if you are into tabletop roleplay and you want to support representation in disability of roleplay. Also, this one's art is gorgeous. Yeah, really, really quite cool. Quite cool colouring book, quite cool colours. Worth having a check out. You can also buy a digital copy as well, but I got the physical copy because I just like physical copies. Alright, I also have the Witchy Woman colouring book by Black Magic Colouring. And this one has some really unique, interesting pages in it. I wish the paper was thicker because I feel like these could get some really gorgeous, glamorous, fully coated in all sorts of I'd love to pull out markers and inks and make them all like have like a beautiful galaxy background and sparkles, and then have this like really vivid image in front. But because it's double-sided and such thin paper, this is going to be pencils only. Just still, like, we'll still pull out some beautiful designs, but yeah, just haven't coloured in it yet. Then I have Fairies and Flowers by Knick-Knack Designs. This is another one that was on the random clearance, and I was like, okay. And I did see the cover art for this one at least. It's like, okay, that cover art's kind of cute. I could see something like that. The images inside do not match the cover. There's a bunch of these like Zentangly flower ones, and then there's occasionally a little fairy, but it's more like cartoony fairy rather than the front cover one, which has a bit of realism inspiring. So yeah, that was a big disappointment when I purchased this one. So pretty much also went onto the shelf of abandonment. Alright. Oh god, I hate picking these ones up. Right, Selina Fenech. I have talked before about how I hate touching these books, and this is a big reason why I always avoid colouring in Selina Fenech books. Gorgeous illustrations. Not scared of working on the Amazon paper. Like, yeah, it's thin, but I'm sure I'll find a way. I hate touching these covers. They feel dirty and gritty and gross to me. I keep meaning to go in there and laminate them so I don't have to touch them, and then I just keep forgetting about it. So yeah, I do need to do that. But yeah, I have a few Selina Fenech colouring books. Oh god, try and do this without touching. So I have the Mermaids collection in both Greyscale and normal. I bought the Mermaids one, and then I found someone locally selling the Greyscale copy, so I ended up picking that up too in a bundle deal. So I have not coloured in the Greyscale. Now I have coloured in the Merms, and both of these pictures are not complete, and I am not counting them as a work in progress. I did last year. However, these books contain 2 versions of each image, so I still have one to colour that is not coloured in. Once I've coloured in one variation of the image, if I'm happy with it, I'm considering that page done, and I don't have to do the other one. So I'm not happy with these, but I have another variation I can colour, so I can count this as a write-off. And the reason for that is because primarily with the 2 pages I have done in here, I was genuinely trying to test out different materials and how they worked on this paper, because I had never coloured on Amazon paper before, and I've heard so much about it. So I was just trialing out different things, and like my alcohol markers had one of the most patchy reactions on this paper that I've ever seen, and I hated how it looked, and for some reason I pulled out the gold acrylic ink, and yeah, did not care for it at all. And then there's another one in here, this one. I was just seeing how wet media operated on the page, and how it buckled, and how different things layered, how pencils layered, trialing different things, and realizing very quickly what this paper could handle and what it could not handle, and realizing there was no coming back from this image. I mean, there might be with enough playing and enough gentle work, but it's going to be a lot of work. And as I said, there's another page in this book of each design, so I'm just writing them off. I'm just calling them test pages and considering this book unworked entirely. So yeah, that is the Mermaids. And then, as I said, I also have the Greyscale colouring. I have Fairy Magic. I have not coloured in it. I have Fairy Art in Greyscale. I have not coloured in it. And I have Gods and Mythology, and I have not coloured in it. And the only reason is those covers. I don't mind the paper. I cannot stand the covers. I'm going to go wash my hands after I move this. Like, genuinely do not like the feel of these covers. Really have got to laminate them. See if I can rope somebody else to laminate them for me. Now I have 2 books that I'm contemplating moving up to the shelf above. I feel like they would kind of fit on the shelf above with the Lulu Mayo and Maria Trial, like that sort of nature-y section, but I genuinely don't have room, and they also are just slightly too tall to stand up, so they kind of have to go onto the bottom shelf. So it's the only place they fit, which is a shame because I forget about them because this book is gorgeous and I really want to colour in here. So as you can see, this is one where you do get the plate of the bird and then you can reproduce the bird itself. So I will more than likely work from the back to the front, just so that if anything bleeds through, it's okay because I've already used the plate as a reference. But yeah, I just always forget about it. And then also, there's a poo gecko. We love these birds in New Zealand. They're so cool. They're so cool. So yeah, just a really neat colouring book that I really want to get to, but I genuinely forget I have. Another colouring book that I have, I do apologise if you're hearing sounds outside, there is a protest going on out there. This is the Kew Gardens World of Flowers colouring book. This is another one where you have the illustrative guides to help you with the colours and help you figure out the plants, which I thought was brilliant for trying to work out how to colour flowers. And then they also have like the full key plates at the front. I will probably do the same thing. I'll probably work from the back to the front just to make sure in case it bleeds through, and making sure I use like transparent materials. But yeah, it's a really beautiful book that once again I just simply forget I have. Alright, I have a Zen colouring. This is one of 2 Zen colourings I have. This one is the Calming and Restful collection. This is like another magazine colouring, but these ones are like a lot more. There's a few Zen doodles, there's a few mandalas. They're the sort of ones where you could just pull out gel pens and colour, or alcohol markers or whatnot. I think this is the only one I have done in here. It's just alcohol markers. It's nothing special. It's just literally me pulling out and colouring in some sections. So yeah, I try not to buy too many of these anymore because I don't gravitate towards them often. We have the Disney Stained Glass colouring book, and I have done a little bit in here. So this one I only colour with Crayola Super Tips. I just take a section, colour it in flat, move on to the next section. It is designed to be my complete chill out book. I don't think, I just sit and I just and it's done. It doesn't matter if it bleeds through, it doesn't matter. It's just a mindless fill-in one, and I think it's really good to have these books, especially when you're doing a lot of like Kirby and detailed books. It really helps break up those bigger complicated pages with something lighter and more fun. So yeah, I've done a fair bit in here. There's a good chance that this might be one of my first books that I ever complete entirely, just because I do end up pulling this out frequently, particularly when I'm really stressed. Just fun to sit there with the felt tips and just colour in. I think this one's even a YouTube video where I talk about like artist perceptions and the pressure that we put on ourselves. I love this one. I think that was like one of the first ones I did in here. So yeah. I'm sorry I'm not talking about all of them, but genuinely there's really nothing to talk about with them. The Crayola Super Tips and nothing else. I don't try anything fancy. There's no thought behind them. I just try to make it look like the character with whatever colours are appropriate, and then I just choose colours surrounding it. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes not so great, but it is what it is. Alright, I think we've got a big run here. There we go. So yeah, it could be quite fun one day to actually colour in this book properly and try to do like a stained glass effect on each of them and make it look like stained glass, but genuinely it's serving its purpose. It's getting me what I need. Alright, is that all of it? Oh, we got Janna. We've got Mickey and the crew. Ariel. Winnie the Pooh. And that's it. So yeah, I do love, like, I have seen some people colour in these and they do like a glass effect and it looks gorgeous. Like, very much admire it. Maybe one day. Maybe on the very last one, or maybe I'll photocopy one and try it. But yeah, genuinely, felt tips, colour in, done. Alright, so I have 2 Lovatts Inklings magazines. And this one here, I have done this one. This is a really old one. Okay, not too old. I did date this. This is February 2022. So yeah, I think, what did I use in the background? It's not alcohol markers. No. I mean, it's definitely Kaiser Craft shimmer spray on top. I have a feeling I used the the Gallery water soluble crayons, and then the shimmer spray on top, and then the markers to do all those stars. Again, way too many stars, but I kind of dig it. And then for the owl itself, it's Prismacolor and a gold metallic gel pen. Yeah, I really like how that one turned out. So you can like do fun stuff with them, but then you have stuff like this where I tried colouring this on a really bad paint day with my hands, and at this point I just am like, yeah, no, we're just gonna call it done. So yeah, it is an alcohol marker base for the cake, and then distress inks and shimmer spray in the background. And I was going to go over the markings with a gold gel pen and like shade in all the fruit and make it look like a really detailed ornate cake, and my hand just did not work for the pattern. The shading, like the markers bled everywhere, and you know, I was just like, you know what, we're going to call it done. I like it as the flat colours. I can see where I was going with it, but I'm not going to learn anything trying to fix this one up. The paper's not worth saving. I don't care enough about the magazine to keep pushing through on it. So, yeah. And then we have this one here, which is alcohol markers. And then the Gallery water-soluble crayons and ink tints. Not ink tints, sorry. The Kaiser Craft shimmer spray as well. Just spritzed everywhere. Having fun with it. And then have I done anything in this one? I don't think I have. I have not. So yeah, these are ones that I don't buy anymore of these, because again, I don't gravitate towards this style. I've got more than enough books with this style, and I don't go to it. This sort of Zen doodly pattern filled. So it just adds to the shelf without inspiring me to colour it. So I have Fantasy Dolls Volume 1 by Janna Prosvirina, and this is the Greyscale version. This is one that was also in the clearance that I picked up. I wish it wasn't the Greyscale. I wish it was the lined version. I think that would be a lot easier to colour, because the Greyscale is so pale. yeah, it's going to be interesting to colour in. But I think if I make sure I use like a really light hand with my polychromos, which are translucent, we should be all right. We just need to work really, really lightly. And they're really cute. So, do need to just work away at it. Ooh, excuse me. Right, Myth World. This is by Good Wives and Warriors. I don't know who they are. This was an impulse buy. It's kind of cool. I do like it. It's all designed to go this way, but that's really hard for me to flip. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I have not coloured in it. Genuinely, again, forget about it. It just lives on the shelf. And then I'm like, every once in a while, looking through the shelf, oh yeah, I have that book. And I forget to colour in it. Again, shelf 5 really is where books go and get forgotten. So I have Maniac, Botanic. I have thought about moving this to beside Kirby on the top shelf, because this is very similar to the Doodle Invasion book. Except this one is by Irina, Vinnik. Because I really do like this one. Like, this is cool. This is like got enough detail, but there's also a lot of like influence of nature. Like, it's got really interesting tangly vibes, but it's not like Zentangly, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's on my shelf and I forget about it. The Butterflies colouring book. This is I suspect this is another Shutterstock collab one. Yeah, Shutterstock and thinkstock.com. So they just go and they buy elements off Shutterstock and they shove it into a colouring book. This is another second-hand book, so some pages have been coloured already. Like, I love that. Whoever coloured that, they did a gorgeous job of it. Like, well done. But yeah, it is just like patterns and just stuff that they've, just stock images that they've purchased and been like, boom, colouring book, produce. So again, it's another style of book that I'm really trying to avoid purchasing, is these Shutterstock colouring books, because there's no personality to them. Oh, sorry. So yeah, I think that's probably one that I could look at unhauling. And then the final one I have to flip through is my other Zen colouring. This is the Botanical collection. Again, this is just pretty straightforward mandala style patterns. There's just a little bit more of a floral element to it. And I do like that there are some pages like this in here too. But yeah, again, I just genuinely forget about it. I've done the first page in here. This is Crayola Super Tips and some glitter gel pens. This is another one where curling up in bed just would sit down and do some patterns. But I was feeling unwell. So that is me hitting all my stuff again. That is all the books on shelf 5. Let's go and get the PDFs. Okay, so now I have my PDFs. Now this is not every PDF single page I own. This is not PDF books. These are individual pages. Not everything I have is printed because there's so many wonderful freebies out there. I would just have thousands of pages. So every once in a while I might go and get something printed. I used to get a few things printed off in advance. Now I kind of try to only print when I know I'm going to colour something specific. But it is a process for me to get to the print store. So yeah, sometimes I do print either extra copies or a couple of things if I think I'm going to get to it. But I try really not to print out too many pages because I do forget to come to my PDF pages a lot. So the first two I'm going to start are these ones here. So these are gorgeous little colouring pages that I have done, and they are by the artist Pencil Butter. Pencil Butter has been a friend of mine for many a year. She taught me many things about how to work with Copic markers, and I'm very grateful to have learned what I have learned from her. So this one here is actually on my YouTube channel as well, so you can go and look up me colouring this one. This was done in February for Valentine's Day. Super, super cute. And yeah, these ones are from her Patreon. So these are her like little exclusive colouring pages. She puts out like a little mini print each month, but then also will give you a colouring page to go along with it of the print, which is really, really neat. And I have some more of her pages around. I put them somewhere so safe I cannot currently find them. It's just in a little packet. Like as soon as I see it, I'm going to know that that's where they are and I will move them over. I've just kind of changed how I store my PDFs, and I thought I had them all, but I realized as I went to film this that I am missing that little packet with the additional pencil butter pages. So I will find them eventually. Right, so I have a few Kanuko Ego Sa pages printed. These are all freebies from Kanuko's website. I have not coloured in any of these. I got all these printed before I had any Kanuko books, because I really enjoyed her work, but then I just went and got her books. So I have these, and I forget I have these because I have the books, but I have them printed. So I may find someone to pass these on to be perfectly honest. I have a couple more of the Kanuko ones, but bigger. So I've got the crystal mice, and then I also have somewhere in here the first Kanuko page that I started working on and I never quite finished. So this one I have just used Inktense pencils for so far. And yeah, I just never got back to it because, as I said, I got my Kanuko book. I enjoyed working on this one so much that I ended up purchasing a Kanuko book and then we just worked in there. So yeah, maybe I should come back and finish this off or try to do something with it, but I forget about it. I do forget about my PDFs. I'm really bad. Alright, so I have a bunch of illustrations here. And I feel like I got these in a colouring Discord. And I think these are all the same artist. I really hope they are. Gnome Levy. I feel like these are all the same artists, but they're really gorgeous fantasy type pages. I could be wrong because this is the only one that I've named, but they look very similar in style. So I'm going to hope that I am crediting the right artist, and if I am not and you recognize them, please do let me know, because I would like to actually credit the right artist, and I should have written them. Oh, look at that. I did write on the back of these ones. Excellent, Gnome Levy. Did I just not spot it on this final one? I did not spot it. Yay, I did go ahead, and that means I did credit the right artist. Oh my goodness. And then I also have this one here pre-printed, and this is Alison Neal that I also got for free in a Discord colouring group. I thought this one was really quite cute. I feel like it may be AI generated though, so I'm trying. I don't really want to colour AI art, so yeah. Thought it was cute, but I think this one I might just pass on to somebody else to colour. Like, I won't just chuck it out. I won't let it go to waste. I'll find someone else to give it to try some colouring with. Alright, I have, oh my gosh, let's pick up these smaller ones. So I have 2 copies of this image here, and this is by, I did write it there, Lovatts Dreams, and this one was actually gifted to me by one of my patrons who went out and grabbed a copy of it for me because she wanted to know how to colour like a blue spruce type fir tree, like a more grey type Christmas tree. So how to actually still have it look like a tree but have it more grey toned. So it was a really interesting challenge to try and figure that out. I probably could have pushed it a bit lighter, but also I'm planning on colouring this dark brown, so it will also pop a lot more and look a lot lighter in comparison with this being like a really dark brown wood. So yeah, this is by Lou Art Dream. You can find them on Etsy. They also have a Patreon, or they did have a Patreon, which is how the patron got this page to begin with and then gifted me a copy of it. Right, so I have this one here ready to go. So this one is a collab piece. This is done by a New Zealand artist, a friend of a friend. Basically, this is the art of their D&D character that they commissioned Marley for, and in turn they painted some figures for Samsara, painted some figures for Marley. Marley drew Samsara's D&D character, which for even more confusion is also called Samsara. It's a whole thing. But yeah, basically this is by Marley, and you can find them on TikTok as the Athena Bliss author. They've also written a book. I'm yet to read it, but it looks really cool. I've got access to it for a friend and I really want to read it. But yeah, so this one has been printed because when they did the trade, the original artist is going to digitally colour it, but Samsara asked for the line art and then asked if I would be able to also colour it, and I was been given it, and at some point I will get round to colouring it. Right, I've also just found another Kanuko Ego Star page that I printed out. Yeah, so a lot of this I have like just printed out ready to go pages. Let's chuck you back there. I'm trying to put some sense of order to them. So I printed out the Rita Berman sampler when Africa came out, and then I never actually got to it. But I wouldn't mind getting to it or seeing if I can finally source her books. I thought it would be a good way to test colouring a couple of little things. And then I also have from Clara Markova, and I have 2 copies of it. This gorgeous page that I did for Christmas. This one was, how much glitter can I use on a page? That was the theme. There is so much glitter. There is stickles for all the red. There is Mod Podge with glitter and like pearlescent mica powder and more glitter for the background. And then I put sequins on as well, so it's like even more glitter. It's so glittery. Love it, love it. And then there's like iridescent shimmer in a couple of places. And did I use, yeah, down there, I don't think I used metallics in the end. I think like we were like, that's enough glitter. It finally felt like enough. Oh, and the little sticker gems as well. These like literal gems up here that are stickers in rainbow colour that I stuck down for the bottom of the jacket. Yeah, super fun. But I have another copy of it, so if I want to do something a little bit less glittery, I can. I would love to get Clara's books one day. They are very much on my like forever item. I did use metallic. I used it in a candy cane. I knew I used it somewhere. Right, so these are another collab one. So this is by a wonderful friend of mine, Pingy. They stream on Twitch. They do a combination of video games and their own art. They have a really cool, unique style. So this one I did colour on the channel. It was a fun little collab because Pingy designed the lines, sent it to me, I coloured it, and then it was sent to a player of mine in my D&D group, turned into a sticker. So this is character art of their character that I have coloured that was then sent to the player. And it's such a fun collab. And then this one is another character design that was designed by Pengy, and then they have coloured it, but then a copy was sent to me to also colour as well, which is really fun. It's really fun colouring in your friends' line work, especially when they do such gorgeous line work. Speaking of friends with gorgeous line work, I also have this one here, which is by Haunted the Sandwich. This is another fun collab piece featuring Charcuterie, their gorgeous little mouse character. And so yeah, once again I did print 2 copies just in case. And this one uses Crayola Super Tips used in the watercolour method, and then Liquitex Gold acrylic ink and some Poscas to highlight. And I believe this one is also a YouTube video. I think this is the one where I knocked over my bottle of gold ink and got it everywhere, and it started the gold ink fiesta where I just painted a bunch of stuff with the gold because I couldn't get it back in the bottle, so I just painted as many pages as possible with gold anywhere that felt appropriate. Alright, and then the final of the smaller ones that I have here are more by the lovely, incredible Pencil Butter. So I have this one printed out, ready to go. I still really want to colour in the citrus one. And then I have the Witch, which I have coloured in, and I love this one. Their background is entirely stickles. It's just glorious. I love how this Cozy Witch turned out. Definitely adore. And I still have to paint around the border to really set it in place, or like trim it up or something. I'm not sure yet, so we'll get there eventually. And then I also have this one printed, and I have it printed in 2 sizes because this one is designed as a bookmark set, so you can colour them in and use them as bookmarks. But then I thought it would actually be really cool to colour it as a spread in itself and do each one like red, yellow, green, blue, purple or something, and like have it as a rainbow picture in itself. So yeah, I haven't gotten around to it. I've had these printed for a while, but keep meaning to do so. So yeah. Again, I'm really bad about remembering about my PDFs, so I'm hoping my new storage system will help me remember about my PDFs. I also have this big one printed by Pencil Butter. So these ones that are printed on the bigger paper, like the little ones, they're her patron ones. But the bigger ones, these are all from her shop, which I will do my best to remember to link down below. In fact, I'll do my best to link everyone down below, so I know I can let you guys find these amazing artists, because a lot of these are like little independent artists, and you know, it means a lot to them when you commission art from them or go and hit up their stores and order things from them. So, you know, shop small where you can. But yes, this one is 2 separate prints, but I thought it would be really cool to do it together as like Angel and Demon style. And seeing if I can like pull across certain colours and make it all tie together. I just need to get onto it. And then I have this one here as well, which was like the first ever PDF that I purchased. I don't know if they still do this one as a PDF. I know they do some of the individual figures as a PDF, but I love the combo of all 3. So this is Nina Kurt's art on Etsy, and you can see I actually have 2 copies printed. I started out with this one, but her skin was so orange, and I realized that the polychromos pencils that I were using didn't want to lay, like there's too much tooth to the paper, and I could not get it to lay flat and blend like how I wanted. So I went and reprinted it, and this time I used watercolor as a base, and then I've still got to go in with pencils. And I did the watercolor on this in like 2021. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. But I do love it. I think it's a really neat like trifecta, and having the 3 colors I think will look really cool. You know, all the little bits tying it together. So yeah, eventually I will get onto that one. So that's all my currently printed and worked on PDFs. I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!